Father, may I have your permission to begin the program? Thank you, Father. A very good evening to all present. Honorable Vice Chancellor of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj, respected Registrar Professor Ashish Mitra, special guests, fathers and sisters, faculty members and staff. We welcome you to the Christmas meet at St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. We will begin the program with a short prayer video. Based on the principles of Ignatian charism, St. Xavier's University, Kolkata has in recent years emerged as one of the leading higher education institutions in Eastern India. We are expanding in terms of infrastructure and resources, and each year we welcome students from across the country, offering them the best opportunities for academic learning and building men and women for the society. We will now see the introductory video on St. Xavier's University, Kolkata.
Quality of teaching, quality of learning at this university. That's one of the areas we want our students to excel. Quality education, so that they become quality human beings and quality leaders. Has different stakeholders. For me, first and foremost, the student community is the stakeholder. Secondly, of course, is the management. Third, the faculty members. Fourth, the support staff. Fifth, the alumni. And finally, the parents of our students. All these are important in the university because each segment takes its responsibility to make the university to go forward, to make the university relevant academically and otherwise. student who joins this university becomes a leader.
I would now like to invite the Honourable Vice-Chancellor of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj, to kindly deliver his Christmas message and the inaugural address.
A very good evening to all of you. Respected Mr. Devashi Sen, Managing Director of HIDCO and NKDA, Honorable Chancellor of Sister Nivedita University, Mr. Sultan Rai Chaudhary, Honorable Vice Chancellors, we have the Vice Chancellor of Andaman University, SNU, respected principals of colleges, I can see Dr. Amit Ghosh there, principals of colleges and schools, Reverend Fathers, Father Rector, the Jairaj of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, and Father Joseph Raj of St. Xavier's University of Brito House, Jesuit Community, sisters, alumni, alumnae, distinguished guests, and my dear friends. It's indeed a great pleasure for us at St. Xavier's University to welcome all of you to this evening's program. It's a great joy for us to be with you and to have the celebration on the eve of Christmas 2023. This celebration has two phases. One is the celebration of Christmas, the birth of child Jesus. Second, we said we are here as academicians and some experts. And so let's give an academic color to the celebration. And the most important topic that we could think of is the migration of students post +2 from Bengal to other states, other cities. Now also to find out whether we could attract students from other states and cities to Bengal, which used to be 50, 60, 100 years ago. If you read the history of St. Xavier's College, which is now 163 years old, it has a history of students who have come from Sri Lanka, Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, South Korea. And today we hardly have students from these. There are reasons for it. But can we bring back the old culture and attract students from different parts of India, why even different parts of the world? And so that would be a discussion among us, an interesting discussion to see where we stand. But my short message on this very important day, on the occasion of Christmas, is this. You know, it is rightly said, 1,000 times in history, a baby has become a king. But only once in history did a king become a baby. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore has touchingly brought out this divine encounter in human life in his beautiful poem, which is very familiar to us. Have you not heard his silent steps? He comes, comes, ever comes. Every moment and every age, every day and every night he comes, ever comes. Jesus Christ's birth in our midst is to propagate peace, which is the most precious gift of God to humanity. As Christ visits us this Christmas, He reposes in us the message and meaning of rich life and mission. Prabhu wrote, every child comes with a message that God is not disappointed with humans. The birth of Jesus Christ, the Holy Child of Christmas, brought a special message of hope to everyone. Christmas is an opportunity to apply the message of Christ in each person's life. It should not turn into a meaningless annual ritual. There are two persons very important while we celebrate Christmas. One, of course, is Jesus Christ. And so the Christmas has got two words combined as one. Christmas, Christ among the masses. That Christ is born in the midst of human beings. So Christ, masses put together, is Christmas. And so Christmas gives us that deep meaning of Christ being born in the midst of people. And that's what happens every year in December when we celebrate Christmas. The second person is Saint Nicholas. Whenever you celebrate Christmas, or wherever you see a Christmas script, you have a small statue of Santa Claus. When Mr. Xavier gave us this land through the Honorable Chief Minister, when she brought the documents of the land to us, the newspaper said Santa Claus has gone to St. Xavier's to donate on the Christmas day the documents of this land. Santa Claus is Saint Nicholas. Santa means saint. Nicholas is the Claus. So Santa Claus is Saint Nicholas, a man known for generosity, a man who went about helping the poor, who made the life of the poor rich, who was always a man who walked on the streets in order to serve the poor. And so we have Santa Claus who comes with kids. And that's why in celebrations today we don't have Santa Claus, do we? We don't have. But that's what is the inner meaning of this person, Santa Claus. We celebrate Christmas in many ways. Some do it publicly. They throw big parties, wanting to share their excitement with others. Many organizations and offices organize Christmas carnivals. December calendar is often filled with social obligations, but they may not even know the inner reason why the party is being held. The spiritual aspect is often overlooked or even excluded from the celebrations. There are others who prefer to celebrate Christmas privately with their family members and relatives. This type of celebration is very warm and supportive. There are individuals and families who reach out to children, the aged, poor, and the dying and destitute to express their joy by sharing a meal or distributing gifts as the Magi or the Santa Claus did. Jesus Christ is not just only a historical person. He is a metaphor of human life, an avatar of love, a self-giving and companionship in the service of people. On this occasion of the birth of the divine babe, let me recall for us the essential truth of every religious faith. Religion is a way of life, we know. It is an endeavor to preserve the beauty of our conscience and intention in our actions. Religions can never be the source of fundamentalism or violence. But the root causes of all violence flow from the hidden agenda and opportunity strategies of our people, the leaders around us. We are the makers and markers of our own destiny. On this joyous occasion of Christmas, we should pledge to break the boundaries of superstitions and parochialism. Be illumined by divine light that embraces us and relieves the world from suffering caused by misappropriated manifestations of spiritual sentiments and religious fundamentalism. I consider it proper this evening to conclude this passage with a quote from the Christmas passage of Holy Father Pope Francis. I quote, "Where God is born, hope is born. And where hope is born, persons regain their dignity. Yet even today, great numbers of men and women are deprived of their human dignity. And like the child Jesus, suffer cold, suffer poverty and rejection. May our closeness be felt by those who are most vulnerable, especially child laborers, child soldiers, women who suffer violence, and the victims of human trafficking and the drug trade. On this joyous occasion of Christ's birth, I wish all of you gathered here, friends of St. Xavier's University and St. Xavier's institutions, a Merry Christmas and a joyful New Year 2024. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for reminding us about the spirit of Christmas and enlightening us with your words. St. Xavier's University, Kolkata is delighted to host a panel of eminent guest speakers who will be addressing the audience on the issue of migration in higher education, challenges and prospects of West Bengal. The outcome of students from West Bengal is a subject of primary importance and critical inquiry in academia at present. Schools, colleges and higher education institutions are contemplating ways in which the quality of education in our state may be improved and intellectual resources may be best utilized. Today's discussion will commence with a talk by Mrs. Jessica Gomez-Urana, Principal, Loreto Day School, Elliot George. Mrs. Jessica Gomez-Urana has many years of teaching experience at some of the most renowned educational institutions in the city and has served as the Principal of Loreto Convent in Tally from 2016 to 2023. I now request Mrs. Jessica Gomez-Urana to kindly come on stage and address the audience.
Despite having highly ranked universities recognized internationally for their research and academic progress, yet in the year 2019, the state of West Bengal experienced a large number of students migrating. A very good evening to our August gathering. It indeed is an honor to be here amongst all of you. When I started to look at the topic, I looked at it from the angle of being a geography person. And I was looking at secondary data, but the data was not a data that would get me motivated to stand here. Because according to the Human Development Index, Bengal is ranked 28th amongst 36 states and union territories, and its level of development is well below the national average. So then and this is just one stats that I mentioned here, and then I said, let me move out in getting some primary data. And there is where I went out and spoke to a lot of students from classes 9 to 12 and parents too. What is migration? Migration is a movement from one point to another. Migration has great impacts physically, economically, and mentally. It does take a toll on the migrant to leave their homes, family, relatives. These youngsters at 17 plus 18 years old are taking this big decision. So why are they migrating? That is the question that we need to answer. Two major factors play a role and both act simultaneously, but acting at two different points, a point of origin and a point of destination. And these are the push factors and the pull factors. When I look at the challenges and the prospects, my challenges definitely for our state are the push factors. What are the factors that are pushing our young students out of this state? And today we're talking about higher education, but we are already facing the problems in school education too. So what are the factors? When I went out and I started speaking to the young girls, and mind you, I'm in a girl institution, an all-girl institution, and there are a large number of girls today who want to move out for studies. When I was a student, not too many years back, but still there was a little constraint of girls moving out. But today girls are also moving out. So why are they moving out? And the points that I have, quite a few, but I'll just mention a few. And do remember the push factors from our state. As I said, simultaneously, you have the pull factors operating at other states. A preference for IIT, KIIT, BIT, etc., due to their high academic standards and smooth manner of functioning. Several in Kolkata are disillusioned with the state of affairs in the reputed institutions, the science institutions in particular. Accommodations for residential students is inadequate, unlike many states. Students from the WBHSCE secure lower marks in the HS exam and consequently find it very difficult to get admission in good colleges. Now, my prospects, I had a whole list, but I'm glad that as I sat there and I saw that PPT fulfilled maybe all. But does the burden of education come on one or five institutions in a state? It burdens just that small percent. We need more of our colleges and universities to grow in all the points that we just witnessed a few minutes back. So those are the prospects that we look at. Another thing that came up very sharply was the politics in colleges. And in our schools, one thing that we stand by, and in a way we mollycoddle our children and we try to keep them too safe and secure because we keep them away from any sort of politics. That is quite something that we stand by. So suddenly this young girl or boy, after finishing this very cocooned existence in the school, is thrown into this big world where politics is playing a major role today. And it is this politics that is changing or in a way polluting or diluting the educational atmosphere. The beauty of this state still lies in the fact that our population is a population that loves learning, and that's something that we could still take as the biggest strength of this state. They love to learn. In our state, students taking science can also move a little into the literature. We have that flexibility here. We are still spoken as the seat of learning, and that is our strength. Coming back to another push factor, what we are facing in many of our colleges is technology. technology needs to be upgraded because, again, large number of colleges are still yet, even if they have the infrastructure, is the infrastructure being used to its best possible extent? We need to look at some of these points that I've mentioned, and I have many more. One, of course, that is a matter of concern. Today we're looking at application, we're looking at critical thinking. We are still theory-based to a very large extent in many of our colleges. Rote learning is still taking place. And it just came up to me, someone said, for a mathematics exam at the graduation level, some even mark or learn up the sums by heart and go and give it out over there in the exam. So is this the education we still want? Then we need to change, as Father said, we stand for excellence of teaching and learning. Teaching and learning go hand in hand, and thereby the teachers are supreme. The passion, the professionalism of teachers in our colleges is something that we really need to look at. Because in many of our colleges, we still have some professors coming in late to a class or missing a class. We need to address this too. Because teaching, learning goes hand in hand. And these are no more children. These are young adults. They're learning from what they are seeing. And this is the ultimate stage of the role modeling that we see. So we need to have stronger role models, not only in teachers, but also in institutions. And I think it is very, very possible. Because again I say, we are the state with the heart of learning. We love to learn. We are passionate. And we are all embracing. That is extremely important in a state like ours, where all of us are welcome and all of us sit together today in such a beautiful get-together. And we saw the opening prayer, which was so marvelous. That is the biggest strength of this state. So let's take all the points that come from everyone today and let's move ahead, because this is a beautiful time, the coming of the birth of Jesus. And it's not only the 25th of December that we celebrate. We celebrate many days in preparation. It is in the preparing that we are able to move out. But in order to prepare, we need to take time and reflect. I hope this evening, as we hear each other, we are able to take some points and reflect. Because this is a major concern. Demographic changes will take place. We will become an aging population in due course of time. And that is something we don't want. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you, and have a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our second speaker today is Professor Dipali Singhi, Principal, J.D. Birla Institute, Kolkata. Professor Dipali Singhi has over 24 years of teaching experience and has been at the helm of administration at J.D. Birla Institute for many years. I request Professor Singhi to kindly come on stage and deliver her talk.
Very good evening to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Xavier University, Reverend Father Felix Raj, and the Honorable Vice Chancellor, former Vice Chancellor of my university, Jadavpur University, Professor Suranjan Das, the other Honorable Vice Chancellors, members of the management of higher education institutions, principals of various colleges and schools, and other eminent members who are present here today. I would first like to thank Father Felix for inviting me for such a I would say, such an important topic which has been plaguing all of us for a very long time. And father being my mentor when I started my journey as a principal 19 years back. So I've completed 30 years of service in my institution, which is my own alma mater also. And father has always been guiding me as to how we can, face challenges. And this being one of the most important challenges that we all are going to face, and we are already facing this for a very long time. The state of West Bengal and the city of joy, Kolkata in particular. The first college, the Senate of Srirampur University in India, was set up here in 1880. That was the seat of formal education that started in India so many years back. And there was nothing to look back. The state of West Bengal progressed. Some top colleges and universities were set up. One of them is the St. Xavier's College, and there were several others. When we were students, we used to look upon to the state and the top colleges. We would never think of migrating to another city, particularly if the course was available in the city itself. So what went wrong? How did this change in just 2 decades? This has not been an abrupt change. It has happened gradually. We were aware of it, but personally I think we did not take this very seriously. Of course, after the pandemic, this has become even more prominent, and we can face this on a regular basis at the time of admission. This state of West Bengal, which was the educational hub for decades, has something that we all have to understand. Why this, I would now use the word exodus, because it's a mass migration. It's not just migration of some handful of students. It is a mass migration that's happening. And it is happening for certain reasons that we need to ponder, debate upon, and try to find solutions. And we have to collectively find these solutions. So this being the first platform, I would like to share some of my points that I feel could be responsible for this happening. Ours is an institution where we have about 1,500 students, and one institution which can boast of an infrastructure which is in the ratio of 800 square feet for every student, each student. That's the kind of infrastructure at least my college is offering. But we still have certain challenges as far as infrastructure is concerned, because today students are looking at bigger campuses. They do not want a campus which is restricted in a small building, even though there is ample space for them to move about. They are looking for a campus life. That's one challenge that we need to understand, whether there can be a way in which we can come together, because only talking about problems and not trying to see what solutions we can have is going to get us nowhere. So my first question to you is this shortage of infrastructure and how we all can come together to resolve this problem. There is a lot of peer pressure which is happening in schools. If I can give you one example which recently came to our notice. If a student wants to go to a particular university, it so happens that a group of students in her or his class will move to the same university. So there has been a complete migration of a group of students just because their peers were moving to that institution. So can't we think about some proper career counselings at the school level so that they get to know what they are in for when they move from their own city and move to another city? Of course, when we have spoken to students, one of their prime reasons for migrating is, as they call it, freedom. They want to be away from their parents. There is a solution to this problem also, but in Calcutta, we have very few colleges which are residential. There are very few colleges which have hostel facilities. I think Xavier's is one of them. But if you look at most of the private institutions that are there in our city, they do not have a hostel attached to them. Staying in PG accommodation turns out to be quite expensive. So this is another reason that we can think over and find solutions to it. Of course, students feel that in the state of West Bengal, there aren't many industries. So they feel that studying here will not get them proper placements. So there is insecurity in this area. And the question is that even if you get placement in other cities, the problem is resolved. But this has to be explained to the student that education has nothing to do with their placements. Always placing importance of placement on the educational sector is actually, in my own view, something which is detrimental. Schools and colleges are supposed to focus on the growth of the child and not providing them placements. But unfortunately, over a large period of time, it has become imperative for every educational organization to ensure that your child gets placement, and you have to provide 100% placement. So the focus moves from education to providing them with jobs. If the child is very capable, placements will automatically follow. But unfortunately, this is a part of our scenario because all rankings and all of accreditations will ask you how much is your placement and what is the status of placement. This is one thing that we need to think about, and we need to explain to the students that this can be resolved because once you have learned, you can be placed anywhere across the world. I have been traveling all around the country, and I have had the privilege of conducting several NAC visits. I've almost conducted about 19 of NAC visits, and it's been a coincidence I get to move to colleges in the rural and semi-rural areas. And I've been observing something very peculiar. These small colleges which have limited infrastructure, the motivation of the staff is very, very high. They do not have facilities, but they are so motivated for their children that they will do anything which is possible in their means. For example, I would like to share one college I visited in North Bihar, in Mithila. It's a small region which is close to the Nepal border. The teachers had not got salary for the last 7 years. They had some problem with their state government, and the teachers were not given salary for that. But you had to see their motivation level and the number of publications they had in that tiny little college. I feel, and this is my personal viewpoint after observing what is happening here, there is a lack of motivation. I would use the word self-motivation, where we teachers become quite complacent. One of the reasons could be that there is not much competition that is happening. In West Bengal, the major and the popular courses are the traditional ones of science, the STEM courses, technology, that's engineering, science, and related allied courses. The new age programs have not really taken up. It's very difficult to start a new age program, because I can only give you an example from my college. Our college was originally a home science institution. Started way back in 1962, affiliated to Jaipur University. And we shut down home science in the year 2010. In India, I am an executive council member of the All India Home Science Association. And in India, we have over 400 home science colleges, doing quite well. Unfortunately, the state of West Bengal currently has only one home science college under Kolkata University, and that also has no single teacher from the home science fraternity. It's an example. When we look at other courses, which are the new age programs, there are very few colleges which are offering the new age programs. So there is a chance that the student wants to go and study outside because they feel that they will get better opportunities, better facilities in terms of faculty and infrastructure in those cities. So can we think about doing something about this? Trying to motivate students, making them more aware of these new age programs. Of course, the government support in terms of making the colleges and institutions of higher learning more popular. In West Bengal, the number of colleges which have gone for NAC accreditation is quite low. But if you move on to states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, to a large extent even Andhra Pradesh, they have colleges which are very aware of this accreditation and they are gearing up for their NAC accreditations and moving ahead. This creates an impression on the students, oh, this is happening in Calcutta. So this could be one of the reasons. Our work culture, it's quite renowned. I have been, one of my alma mater has been Nirmala Niketan College of Home Science under Mumbai University, and I have studied there for 2 years. I can tell you there is a drastic difference in the work cultures. Bombay is a very fast moving city, but things move very fast. And there is discipline and there is dedication. To a large extent, many of us face this challenge in our institution on a daily basis. Indiscipline with students, indiscipline amongst the staff. It is quite tough at times when you have to deliver, and these challenges are something that we have to face. One more example I would like to give. I do not know, I have such senior members over here. I sometimes wonder, we have such eminent colleges like Xavier's College in terms of colleges and universities which are ranking on the top in the country. Then why is it that the perception is that only the DU colleges are better? Because when I'm talking to my students, it's a perception. The exodus of this movement or the migration is happening mostly to New Delhi now. A few years earlier, it was Bangalore. So, Bangalore and Pune definitely. Now, even cities like Bhubaneswar is coming up. You see, we need to study the trend of the movement. It was Pune and Bangalore, and now it moved to Bhubaneswar, and currently it is New Delhi. So there is something that we need to study to understand why this migration is happening. And why is it that such wonderful colleges with ample infrastructure, very good faculty, and every other facility, then why is it that we are not in that limelight with students coming from other states and studying here? The catchment area of most of our colleges, unless you have foreign students, which if you take all the other colleges which are there and having students coming from other states, it's mostly Assam, Chhattisgarh, partially Bihar, some Orissa, and Northeast. Very surprisingly, students from Northeast have started moving to Delhi. They are not coming to Calcutta. So we need to understand why this has happened in the last 2 decades. One more point, as my speaker earlier, Jessica has just mentioned, is the exposure. The exposure in the state of West Bengal is getting quite restricted. I'll give you one example. Recently I had attended a seminar at IIT Delhi, and this was in our own field. What is happening is, there aren't enough platforms for faculty members to interact between the institutions. Very few seminars, conferences, workshops held. So we have to move out to interact with people which are not from our state. There are very few colleges offering similar programs where they can combine and come together. And of course, as I mentioned, the new age programs need to be highlighted and popularized. These are some of the points that I would like to, leave it to you all to ponder over, and how we can find solutions to these particular problems is what I think we all can come together and then help each other in doing this. The student culture, the last point that I would like to mention here, I sometimes wonder how is it that the students in West Bengal, when they come, they are not being able to, follow certain discipline, and we are always plagued with some kind of an indisciplined status, where in the state of Bangalore, Pune specifically, we are not hearing these kind of issues and problems. Put all together, there are issues which we can tackle, but it needs to be understood why this is happening and what we all can do about it to resolve our problem. And once again, make this city, which was the seat of learning, which produced so many Nobel laureates, this particular, why is it that when you have such high quality education, which is possible, then why is the migration happening? That is the question that I think we all should be thinking about as academicians. It should be a matter of concern to all of us. It's not just about one school or one college. It is about our very, very dear state of West Bengal. Thank you so much, and I just hope we have some solutions to this problem. And once again, a Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Our final speaker for today's discussion is Professor Suranjan Das, Vice Chancellor at University, Kolkata. Professor Suranjan Das has previously been the Vice Chancellor of Xavier University and has also served as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Kolkata. I request Professor Suranjan Das to kindly come on stage and address the audience.
Respected Father Felix Raj, who had been a source of inspiration for all of us who had been in the field of higher education. Other distinguished friends who are present here, which includes my very dear friend Xavier, who had been a friend for years. I'm reminded of the wonderful days that we had in presidency, and also the wonderful days that we worked together at Calvary University. The Honorable Chancellor SXUK was also here. I think he has left. It's also a pleasure to see the principal of a college which is affiliated to Xavier University, which I consider as one of the best colleges in Calcutta, the Xavier Institute. And I would like first to put on record my sincere thanks to Father Felix Raj for enabling me to be here today. We are celebrating Christmas Day, a day which gives us an opportunity to embrace the spirit of compassion, the spirit of love, the spirit of happiness, the spirit of joy, the spirit of tolerance. It is also a day, as Father reminded us, where we should think of the deprived sections of the community and should also devise ways to find how we can light the lives of these people. Christmas should also be a day where we should embrace certain basic values of tradition at a time when a country like India is embarking on a period of modernity. And these are the values which have been
very vividly portrayed in the opening prayer. Father Felix has also reminded us that Christmas should also be a day when we should reflect on the year gone by and set intentions for the future. It is perhaps in this perspective, Father has rightly chosen a problematic which is of crucial importance for all of us who are involved in higher education. And I thank my preceding speakers for setting the ball rolling. But I would like to set my ball rolling from a different perspective. And perhaps to the point of not sharing some of the basic points that have been already raised by my distinguished speakers. The issue is migration from West Bengal, so far as student population is concerned. My question is it normal? When we are speaking of globalization, when the world is becoming a small village, when the communication not only between provinces but between the national boundaries is becoming easy. In this situation, migration from one place to the other, whether of the students or of the working population, is normal, is natural. That's the point we have to recognize. And migration of students from West Bengal have been natural. I myself completed my PhD, my higher studies in Oxford. When I was in Oxford, a number of students from not only from Bengal, from India. If you see the record of the recent Nobel laureates from India, all of them won their fame after their death in India. So I'm not against migration per se. When we were students, opportunities were less, therefore we couldn't go. Now we have more opportunities, the students can go. When I was a student, I come from a very ordinary social background. I could not have been to Oxford unless I got a government scholarship. Now the government scholarships are coming down, but yet the students are going. Why? Because there are other avenues through which the parents can fund their students, their kids to go and study. So I am not apprehensive about migration of the students. And speaking of the world as a whole, the more there is interaction between the people of one region to the other, the greater will be the chances of cultural interaction and all. Having said that, the danger, so far as West Bengal is concerned, is about at what stage the students are in. During our days, when we and Zubo were students, usually we completed our undergraduate study, the postgraduate study, the grade and all. But now, the students completing high school are trying to go not only outside West Bengal to other parts of India, but also outside India. That is the thing which for me is worrying. I am not worried about migration of students per se. There have been certain factors which have been identified as why by the previous speakers and why this migration higher education. There is a mention that the decline of reputations of higher education in Bengal. I do not think so. Bengal is the only province where continuously in NIRF ranking 2 universities have been within 10. Bengal is the only state where continuously within the top 10 there are at least 2 or 3 colleges. If that is so, why do you say that reputation of higher education institutions have gone down? Stanford University every year publishes the names of top 2% of the world scientists. Do you know the largest share comes from West Bengal? And to do this, despite the fact that I cannot provide my teachers with the same sort of infrastructure that the central university where IIT provides, even with the I do not believe in that theory that reputation of higher education institutions in Bengal is going down. Low marks in higher secondary. Compare the situation when we were students, the sort of numbers that we got, the number of marks that the ordinary student is getting in higher secondary. You throw a stone and that will lead a person who has got 80%, 85%, 90%. In this present age, marks do not matter. Marks is only a passport for your future work. If you want to have an admission in a good institution, you have to seek for an admission test. If you want a job, whether as a clerk or as an IAS officer or as a teacher, you have to seek for a competitive. So I do not buy the argument that marks, low marks, first do not believe that low marks is a deterrent for students to stay back in this way. Politics in colleges and institutions have been identified. When we were students, I entered presidents, you entered presidents at the heyday of president of Naxalite movement. Yet we talked, not only in Bengal, not only in India, but outside India. When I was a student in Oxford University, I was the president of the Oxford Students' Union, and I was the third South Asian to be. Before that, there was Benazir Bhutto, there was some Zahid Masani, the son of Dinu Masani, and someone else. If a student can participate in the democratic process for voting, what is wrong of a student participating in politics? But I use a word. It depends what sort of politics it is. It depends how you voice your democratic rights. It depends how you voice your political rights. If a point comes, when you exercise your democratic rights, you impinge upon the democratic rights of other persons, that politics is bad. Politics per se cannot be thrown off the campus life. You go to Oxford, you go to Cambridge, you go to Harvard, you go to France, institutions in France, you go to Germany, everywhere there is student politics. In fact, in American universities, they do not call student union, they call student government. The major wave of student politics in the recent past emerged from France, the famous Paris Circuit. The politics per se cannot be a hindrance. It is a what side of politics, what style of politics, how you do the politics. That is important. And a level of political intervention from outside the campus, that is important. Madam rightly pointed out that Delhi has now become the catchment area of students from Bengal. There is politics in JNU, there is politics in Delhi University. Look at some of the nasty political events that have taken place in these institutions. These students are political. So it's from the theory that politics is a major hindrance, which makes the students to go out, to not to stay back in the street. On the other hand, I would strongly endorse the argument of Professor Tipali, the issue of motivation. I have seen enough education institutions in the country as a member of the NDC, as a member of the governing body of NAT. There are institutions which are perfect in terms of technology, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of infrastructure, but that does not automatically give you academic competence. How many of the new institutions which brand themselves as technologically swayed institutions have won academic laurels? Most of the academic laurels come from these institutions which do not have the same level of technological magnificence. So yes, infrastructure is the same, particularly in an age when IT is becoming important, when technology-driven education is becoming important. But mere technology is not enough. It is motivation, it is selflessness, it is loyalty to the institution, or whatever, even when there could be people having different political perceptions. But when the institution comes, the question of institution comes, if you can demonstrate our loyalty, even if we are deficient in technology, we can excel. But then it is also true that the other point I wanted to make, that the Northeastern students do not come to Kolkata. The reason is, in all central government institutes there are special scholarships for the Northeastern students. All central government institutes have an obligation to pay 10 to 15% of the annual budget for Northeast. That is the reason. If we have to attract people from the Northeast, we have to also provide that similar scholarship pattern. Madam rightly pointed out that when there is a migration of students, there is a psychological impact. Of course it is. But there is also a positive impact. I give you an example from my own experience. My daughter completed her ISC from Modern High School, doing quite well. Then she went to Miranda House in Delhi, which is the college which has been securing the first position in NIRF continuously. Her roommate was a girl from North Somonika. Before she met her, she was not acquainted with the reality that how different Manipur is from the mainstream India. So that cosmopolitanism is important. Of course, we were distressed when my only child went away. But I could see a personality developing, a personality becoming multifaceted once you went to a very cosmopolitan atmosphere. Our institutions lack cosmopolitan atmosphere. You go to Kolkata University or Jadavpur University, the two top Indian universities, you will hardly find a non-Bengali faculty. You will hardly find a non-Bengali student in those institutions. Jadavpur have some, I don't know Kolkata Press. So, this cosmopolitanism has to be improved. And if we can do that, automatically the situation will change. Now, how do we improve it? Now, as I see it, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic and develop plans in accordance with the economic situation of the state where we stay. We cannot compete with Maharashtra. We cannot compete with Tamil Nadu. We cannot compete with Delhi. Because the grants, average grants received by these institutions are far from higher. The endowments are higher, private contributions. Jadavpur perhaps was the only exception when the alumni came out with outstanding help during that pandemic period. No other institution has been able to tap the resources of the alumni except Father Felix Raj of Xavier University and the Xavier College. So that is the reality. Within that, I think we need to move ahead. And I think the new education policy 2020 provides some ways out. For example, the new education policy speaks about the clustering of institutions. Why can't we adopt that? If in a particular district there is one college which has better facilities than others in terms of manpower or infrastructure, why can't that college be in partnership with other colleges in the surrounding area so that they can optimally place their resources? Why can't, for example, Kolkata Jadavpur University not collaborate with Murshidabad University or North Bengal University so that there can be sharing of expertise? These are simple things that need to be done. I have been advocating this in higher education councils for a long time. This has not happened because, as Professor Xavier pointed out, there is a lack of motivation on our part. Motivation particularly on the part of the faculty members, particularly on the part of the teaching community. And if we can change that, if we can become more motivated, if we can realize that unless we collaborate, unless we cooperate, we cannot keep the students here, then I think the ice can be broken. The teaching learning process needs also to be changed. Many a time, we stress on attendance. As if if there is attendance, the students will become super educated. Dhruva will bear me out. When we were in residence, we did not attend all classes. But we never miss the class of a teacher who could be inspiring, who could be motivating, who could make us think aloud, who could make and think afresh. So the teachers are important. Teaching process is important. If we can develop a teaching learning process even within the existing framework, we can make wonders. We are in position of certain dictates for the top without disciplining ourselves, without making us think what we are doing. And as it was following the Bali's fail, unless we self-motivate ourselves, nothing can be done. Father referred to Rabindranath Tagore. I was reminded of a very pertinent saying of Rabindranath when he was asked after he had established the Bhagavad, what should be the form of education? He said, আমাদের এমন একটা শিক্ষার দেওয়া উচিত, I am not able to quote verbatim, আমাদের এমন একটা শিক্ষা দেওয়া উচিত যা তথ্য দেয় না, অগ্নি দেয়। A system of education which ignites fire but does not burden us with mere facts. Let me conclude. Father referred to Loyola who said that go and set the world on fire. And if we the teachers can ignite fire among our students, I am sure that could be the entry point of a large number of solutions that can come up automatically to stem the tide of students living the state of West Bengal. Having said that, and since Father has taken initiative, I request him to undertake a research project. To ask the question, from what social background the students are going? That is very, very important. Is it true that the students only from the upwardly mobile social groups are going? Is it true that the students who are good but not coming from the deprived social category are staying back? And what is the percentage of the total students completing the even +2 leaving West Bengal? That should be the starting point of a discourse. Mere numbers is not important. The percentage of students going out from West Bengal is important. And that should be the point of any further discourse on the student mobility. I won't use the term migration. Student mobility from West Bengal. I am not against mobility, but if mobility is there only for certain reasons which compels them to do those reasons, we have to address. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Das. I would now like to request the Honorable Vice Chancellor of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj, to kindly moderate the discussion.
I think we are running late, and the three speakers were so enlightening, and you could see the various aspects of the student mobility being touched upon. And so I'm not going into any open house discussion, because Professor Surendra himself has concluded asking us to make a research project. And I will take this suggestion, and I'm going to ask some of my own faculty members if they can take up this research project in collaboration with J.D. Birla, and St. Xavier's University would sponsor that research. And we would share the findings of the research with the rest of the colleges and schools. So this is the conclusion that we come to, because our students are waiting with a little cultural program to entertain us, after which we shall go for dinner. Over to our student community.
short cultural program to celebrate the forthcoming Christmas festivity. I would now like to invite the choir on stage to perform a medley of Christmas carols. This will be followed by a dance recital.
It was on one such winter evening, born in Bethlehem to Joseph and Mary, was the Messiah of God, Jesus Christ. Despite being disgraced and persecuted throughout his short life, Christ's unchanging message was not one of revenge or violence, but of love and empathy to one another. It is no surprise that such a human story still captures our imagination and continues to inspire all of us. As the light shines in darkness, here is a humble presentation. Let there be light.
What of the night? They ask. No answer comes. For the planet time gropes in a maze and knows not its path or purpose. The darkness in the valley stares like the dead eye sockets of a giant. The clouds, like a nightmare, press the sky, and the massive shadows lie scattered like the common limbs of the night. It was then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
man of faith amid the snow-white silence. He scans the sky for some signal of light, and when the clouds thicken and the night birds scream as they fly, he cries,
Brothers, despair not, for man is great. When the world embraces winter, the deciduous canopy lies bare, and all is steeped into darkness. Comes Jesus Christ as a testament to resilience and fortitude, as the incarnation of love, a love that leads to the cross, to sacrifice, to a life of service for fellow human beings. He leads us to witness ephemeral beauty and light.
program, I request Professor Shoma Shun, Honorary Director of the Father Lafore Center for Excellence in Research and Innovation, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Honorable Father Vice Chancellor, respected Father Rector, esteemed guests, Registrar Sir, Controller of Examinations, Deans of different faculties, respected fathers, brothers and sisters, alumni, alumnae, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and privilege for me to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the university in general and the organizing team in particular on this joyous occasion of Christmas gathering. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj, SG, who always emphasizes on the importance of maintaining high quality in teaching, learning, and research for our university. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for his inspiration and encouragement that we have received at every step in organizing this Christmas gathering and providing a scope to discuss on such an important and relevant topic today: migration in higher education, prospects and challenges of West Bengal. And also, as Father announced today, as the outcome of this would be a research project which would be taken up in a collaboration with all institutes to further discuss on this. And thank you, Father, for your valuable guidance and inspirational motivation for all this. My sincere thanks to all our esteemed guests present here from academia and other walks of life for taking out their valuable time from their busy schedule to grace this occasion, and also for sharing their valuable thoughts in this discussion. Thank you all for gracing the occasion with your presence and inspiring us with your thoughts. My sincere thanks to our Registrar, Professor Ashish Mitra, who has always provided us the needed support and guidance to make this program a success. Further, I would like to thank respected Father Rector and all the fathers, including Father Campus Minister, the deans, the university officers and support staff, all the members of the organizing team, the faculty members, alumni, and everyone in our Xavier family, including our MC of the program today, Dr. Megha Chaudhary, for enormously contributing to make this program a success. I would be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge the active support and the fullest cooperation of St. Xavier's University Kolkata Alumni Association in general and the Secretary, Mr. Vatsal Chirimar, without which this program would not have been possible. It is true that Christmas is a festival of joy, but when there is a Christmas message with valuable thoughts, as we have today, the celebration becomes more meaningful, especially in an academic institution. And at the end, I, on all behalf of the university and Father Vice Chancellor in particular, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. Thank you. In the spirit of Christmas, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj, respected Registrar Professor Ashish Mitra, distinguished guests, deans, and the Jesuit fathers, to kindly join us on stage and cut the Christmas cake. Thank you, Father. The audience is kindly requested to join us for dinner. Thank you.